allow me share with you guys something interesting that has never left my mind. I don't know if you guys have read a book called Flashes of Thought by Mohammed bin Al Maktoum. I highly recommend that you read this book if you have never read it. It's an amazing book, very powerful. So the thing that stuck with me, there's a lot that stuck with me from that book. In fact, I go back to it so many times and read it over and over. I never get tired of it. It's a very good book. Anywho, the thing that really stuck with me from the book was a statement that he made and said, I have no clue who invented the word impossible, but it was clearly someone who was looking for an easy life, a life of sleep and inactivity. Welcome back to yet another episode of Grace in Waiting. As always, I am your host Esther. How are we? I trust that we are well. It is well. God is faithful. Okay. Now, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like the videos on the channel. Don't forget to share this channel with all your friends and loved ones. Now, that statement really hits because think about the number of times you thought of stepping out to do big things. You thought of building this, starting that, making sure this, doing this and that. But what is holding you back? What is putting the doubts in your mind? What is discouraging you from doing that? What is holding you back from stepping out? You feel like it's impossible, right? Every time you think about it, you're like, but I'm not ready, but I don't feel like, but how will I, but I don't have, but when do I, but now this. There are so many doubts in your mind, so many uncertainties, and then it begins to look impossible. And then you begin thinking, I can't do that. That's impossible. Yes, I want to be a CEO, but is it even possible? Yes, I want to start this, but is it even possible? I mean, I don't have this, I don't have the right connections, I don't have the right this and that, the right tools to use. How am I even going to start? I'm reminded of the story of Moses in the Bible when God chose him to lead the children of Israel out of captivity from Egypt. And then he was like, how? Like, God, how? I am a stutterer, I stammer. And many times, just like Moses, we always have those insecurities, those doubts, those uncertainties within us, things that pose as weaknesses within us. So every time God places something in our hearts, every time God reveals something to us, something that He has appointed us for, something that He has chosen us for, we tend to front our weaknesses, our doubts, our uncertainties ahead of it and tell Him, God, but I don't have the tools, I don't have the connections, I am this, I am not that. How am I? God, I mean, I have, and then we have these so many things that we are laying before God, forgetting that He actually knows that we have those weaknesses. I mean, He is God. He created us, so He knows us. He knows, by the time He knows the number of hairs on our heads, each and every one, He knows us, like He really knows us. By the time He says, yes, I choose you. Yes, I know you have this going on. Yes, you don't have this. Yes, I know you're this. Yes, you're that. But I choose you. I saw the perfect. I saw the ones with connections. I saw the ones that have the tools and everything. But I chose you. And I choose you. You are the one that I have chosen for this assignment. But then we start to think, it's impossible. It's really not. I can't. Remember Moses when he said, how will I talk to the king? I stammer. How am I going to execute? How am I going to articulate? How am I going to express myself? Like it, to him, it was so impossible. Like how? Like why me? How is it that you have chosen me, Lord? Like they are articulate people. There is Aaron. Like there are people that can speak very well and execute things. Why is it that you have chosen me? And many times that is how we are. God chooses you for something, and then you start to think, but why not? I mean, how come God has chosen me? My friend here is so articulate. He has the tools. He has everything it takes. Me? How? Where do I even start from? And yet, God still says, yes, you. So if God chose you, if God has chosen you, if God chooses you among the many, where does the word impossible come from to creep into your mind, to creep into your heart? That is a conversation I want us to have in this episode. If there's one thing that God has taught me, it is the fact that no one is going to come to your room and hold your hand and tell you, dear, come and I show you the way, come and I build an empire for you so that you can be this and that. Come and I start this for you so that you can just come and, as of you wait in your room for that voice, that deep voice from heaven, from God, to tell you, arise and start. Yes, I am telling you that I have chosen you, but that voice will not come. Because guess what? That which you feel within you that is telling you that there is more, it is calling you to bigger things. Every time you sleep, every time you wake up, every time you go about your day, every time your day ends, you feel it within you. You feel that conviction within you that is telling you there is more. This is not the end of your story. There is this and that for you. You can do this. You can start this. You can create this. That voice inside you is the conviction from God that is saying, I choose you. Yes, I know this person or the other person, but I choose you. I have also chosen them for a particular journey, a particular purpose. But now this is about you. I choose you for this particular purpose, this particular assignment. Remember Queen Esther in the Bible? There was a time when they were going to kill all her people in the area, and Mordecai came to her and told her, maybe you were made queen for such a time as this. So if you choose to keep quiet, if you choose to remain calm and just go about, your duties as a queen, ignoring the fact that your people are going to be killed, there is no guarantee that you will remain safe. There is no guarantee that your life will be preserved, because maybe you are made queen for such a time as this. Every time I read the story of Esther, it shows me the purpose in everything that God chooses us for, everything that God calls us for, everything that God appoints us for. God is not the kind that is going to just make you CEO. He's not the kind that is going to just elevate you. God elevates you for a particular purpose, a divine purpose, a particular assignment, a divine assignment, which is why every time you get to know that God has chosen you for a particular purpose, a particular assignment, and then you start to feel doubts coming into your mind, uncertainties, fear. Meanwhile, all those attributes are not attributes of God. They are not divine attributes. Every time you feel doubt, fear, confusion in your heart, that is really not God. Our God is a God of peace and clarity. So when fear, doubts, uncertainties, so many questions start to flood your mind, start to flood your heart, you tend to feel like it's impossible, God. Like, how? I know you've called me to this. I know you want me to do this. I know you want me, but how? How am I? It's impossible. I can't. And then sometimes we tend to think, okay, let me keep it to myself. Then when a time comes and maybe I have enough tools. I have the tools that I need to start. I have the right connections that I need to start. I will start. But right now, I don't even have the resources. I don't even have the perfect this. How am I going to? No. But when I get the money, when I get the right tools, when I get the right resources, the right connections, God, I will start on that assignment. And God is saying, I am choosing you for such a time as this. I have chosen you because in this particular time, I want you to be able to execute this. Now, if you postpone and you push it to another time, that only means you have to wait for another cycle. You know, one time I was seated in my room meditating, and then I thought to myself, these things that we keep telling ourselves, I'm great, I'm big, I'm this, I'm that, do we actually ever ponder deeply on those things? Because I think sometimes we tend to maybe think that there's something that is going to work itself out somehow and then boom. But I realized that one thing that God has really called us to is the place of trusting Him and the place of starting. Because one thing that shows that you really trust God, you trust the word that He has revealed to you, is when you act on it, when you start. When you get the clarification of it, you get the confirmation of it, you start. That is what shows your place of trust in God. Let me give an example of Abraham in the Bible. Abram, by that time, actually, Abram, because when God called him to leave his father's house and go to the land that he would show him, he was called Abram. And God told him, when you leave the house of your father, I will bless you, I will multiply you. He did not know who was telling him these things. But he trusted God. He trusted the voice of God that was telling him these things. And he left his father's house. Now, that conviction that you feel inside you every day when you wake up, every night when you go to sleep, every day of your life, it's there, it's within you, it's calling you to bigger, to greater things. What is telling you that it is impossible? Is it God? Is it the word of God? Who invented the word impossible? Was it God? Was it the word of God? Who really invented the word impossible? And what was their aim really? Because every time you say, it is impossible for me to do this, I cannot do this, I don't have this, I don't think I can, this and that, it creates a limitation that stops you from trusting God for bigger things, that stops you from stepping out of the crowd and executing the assignment that God has chosen you for. Because maybe He is choosing you right now for a time such as this, for a time such as now, because there is something that you must fulfill in this particular time. One thing I learned and I'm still learning is that if you do not take a step of faith to say, God, I am here. God, yes. God, I believe you. God, I trust you. If you do not take that step of faith, let me give an example. If God reveals to you that there is a business that He wants you to start, if you do not take at least that step of faith to start a business altar for that business, if you do not take at least that step of faith to get your notebook and note down the vision, the purpose, everything that God is revealing to you regarding your business, regarding that business that He wants you to start, if you do not take that step of faith to say, God, I am here, take me away, show me, teach me, reveal to me, I am available. If you do not take that step of faith, if you stay in your comfort zone and say, okay, I feel it is, but now this, how will I don't even have this. I don't, how will I this, and then I'm not even, now this, and then that only means you are allowing the word impossible to be invented by you. Because who really invented the word impossible? If you notice, the word impossible comes to us individually regarding situations that we are probably going through at a particular point in our lives. It's when you start to feel, I won't be able, that's impossible, that's too big, I can't do that, I am not. So that is you inventing it, because there's nowhere in the Bible, in the Word of God, where God said, however, even if I've chosen you for this, there is this particular part where it is impossible. Where this one, for it's impossible. Yes, I have plans for you. Yes, I could appoint you and choose you and call you, but there's a boundary. There is this that is impossible. It's not there. And we live by the word of God. So if the word of God, which is the truth by which we live, does not see anything as impossible, then who is telling us that it is impossible? Because if Queen Esther had not taken the step to fast and pray, if she had not taken the step to say, I know we are not allowed to go to the king unless he summons for you, but let me dare to go and speak to him. I know it is not allowed, but let me take that step to go and talk to him. If she had not taken that step, imagine what was going to become of her people. Imagine the lives that could have been lost. Remember, she had been chosen to be queen for such a time as that. May God teach us to trust Him. May God teach us to take that step, that first step. You know, our pastor one time shared with us and said that God honors humble beginnings. You don't have to start so big, you don't have to start so great. God honors humble beginnings. You just have to start. All He wants you to do is to start, to take that first step. You see that step that Simon Peter took out of the boat when he realized that, is this Jesus? Let me take that step. Let me walk to Him. Let me see. Let me confirm. Let me prove. That first step, God honors that step. And if you remember, Simon Peter actually walked on water. Not for long, but he actually walked on water because he took that first step. But what led him to fall into the water, even after walking on water actually for some time, was the fear, the doubt, the uncertainty. There's that fear that got into him, the fear that got into his heart, the shock of, oh my God, is this real? Am I actually walking on water? What is happening? That fear. And many times what prevents us from taking that step, that first step, is fear, doubt, uncertainties that make us feel like, how is it going to work? But how come? How am I? How is this? I don't have this. And then before you know it, you're unable to start. You're unable to take that first step on water. You're unable to see the possible as possible. You start to see the possible as impossible. So it goes back to the question, who really invented the word impossible? What was their aim for inventing the word impossible? When we look at Matthew chapter 19, verses 26, it says that, but Jesus looked at them, the disciples, and said, with men it is impossible, but with God all things are possible. With men, it is impossible. But with God, all things, not some, not a few, all things with God are possible. With men, so this gives us the answer of where the word impossible came from. You remember, like I shared earlier, that the word impossible comes to us through situations. You go through a situation and you see the solution, God reveals the solution to you, and you feel like, that's impossible. That means that you are inventing the word impossible. It is creeping in to you through your heart, through your mind, because of the fear, the doubt, the anxiety that you feel, the uncertainty that you feel. And then you start to think it's impossible. And then when God tells you something, you're like, no, God, that's impossible. Imagine, we tell God, God, that's impossible. We are telling God, imagine He's God, but we are telling Him, it's impossible. So it comes from within us as men, as human beings, the flesh, the carnal being is able to tell you that that is impossible. You can't do that. You have this, you're this. You can't. That is impossible. But with God, meaning if you have God, if you trust God, if you believe God, if you align yourself to the will of God, to the word of God, if everything about your life is God, if it is God, if God is your beginning and your end, if it is about God, then it is possible. With God, all things are possible. With God, you can start that business. With God, you can start that project. With God, you can do big. With God, you can do great. With God, you can do all things. Through Him, with God, it is possible. With man, it is impossible because the flesh, the carnal man, will look at something great and think, you can't do that. But with God, He says it is possible. With the fear and doubt, the uncertainty, He says, I have chosen you. It is possible for you to execute it. It is possible for you to do it. It is possible for you to do what I am calling you to do. It is possible for you to do what I have chosen you to do. It is possible. But with you as man, in your carnal nature, with the fear and doubt, the uncertainty, it will cause you to think it is impossible. My prayer today is that we choose God. We put aside man's opinion, we put aside our own opinions and choose God. Because with God, it is possible. With God, all things are possible. With God, that which you think is impossible is possible. With God, there is nothing like impossible. So has God called you? It is possible. Has God anointed you? It is possible. Has God chosen you? It is possible. Is it God telling you? It is possible. Is it God teaching you? It is possible. All things are possible with God. All things. And you know what people who believe that all things are possible with God do? They take that step. That step that says, God, I believe that with you, all things are possible. God, I believe that with you, this is possible. God, yes, I believe. Yes, God, I trust. May God help us to take that first step, because with God, all things, yes, even that, yes, I know you have, yes, regardless of what you're going through, regardless of what you are, regardless of where you are, regardless of what you see, regardless of what you feel, with God, as long as it is with God, as long as you have God, as long as you are starting with God, as long as it entails God, as long as it is about God, with God, all things are possible. With God, all things are possible. So I hope you know that you are chosen for such a time as this. I hope that you take that first step. I hope that you choose to trust God, because with God, all things are possible. Until next time, God bless you so much. I love you guys so much.